Hello today. So, I just got finished working out and I decided I wanted to do a quick show. We're going to try to knock it out under 10 minutes again. I wanted to do a quick show on sin because I think there is a misconception on what the biblical sin is. And when you think of sin, what you're really thinking of is karma, or the law of compensation. And what the law of compensation says is, as ye sow, so ye shall reap. So in other words, what it really is that if you do something, if you do something that's negative to someone, yourself or someone else, or to their property, then you create what's called a karmic debt. And that debt must be repaid. So the thing about sin or karma, which by the way, sin is a karmic debt, whereas blessings is a karmic credit. So you can look at it in the law of polarity, where you could say that blessings are a positive charge, and sin is what's called a negative charge, if you want to look at it biblically. But really what that is the law of karma. And what's interesting is that Christ said, lay your treasures in heaven where the moths cannot steal them. So basically what that's saying is you want to accumulate blessings, which is even more important than earthly credits or earthly positive polarity regarding money. So basically that's what it is. So with a karmic debt, with a sin, with a karmic debt, you can pay it back one of two ways. Either you could do something positive and discharge that debt, or you can let the universe do something that's negative to you and discharge the debt that way. It's kind of reminds me of somebody who is behind on the payment of their houses. Either you can pay with positive, you could pay the debt with a positive with money, or you could pay the debt by being foreclosed on. So that's one way of thinking about it, as far as sin or karma goes. Now, what's interesting is that Yeshua said, even if you think ungodly thoughts about a woman, that's still considered adultery. And what he's saying is that your thoughts can create a certain vibration that creates that karmic debt anyway. So vibrations, two vibrations, if you're vibrating at a certain frequency or you're vibrating at a certain thought level, you're going to match that thought level. So that's why it's important to understand mentalism, which says the mind is all, which is one of the seven hermetic laws. So if your mentality is always negative, you're thinking negative thoughts about other people, then you're going to draw that into your life. Whereas if you're always thinking positive thoughts, doing your positive mantras and stuff, you're going to bring positive in your life. And what's interesting about that is if you have a negative thought, then you use the law of polarity to offset that negative thought. And it balances out, and you discharge that negative thought with a positive one, or that negative thought process with a positive one. So this is basically what sin is. And sin is just as much involved in the mental as it is in the physical, because you're going to attract those negative things to you if you're thinking negative thoughts. And with regard to sin or karma, one of the things that you want to remember is that you can always offset it by doing something positive or thinking a positive thought. But as you sow, you shall reap. Now here's this thing. In the Bible, it talks about an eye for an eye. So people think that that's about revenge. No, it's not about revenge. It's the law of compensation. As ye sow, ye shall reap. So that's what an eye for an eye means. So you have mentalism, you have the law of cause and effect. The law of compensation is sort of like a subcategory of the law of cause and effect, because every cause has its effect, and every cause has an effect that it leads to. And so that's what karma is. The cause is your behavior or your thoughts. The effect is what manifests in the universe, in your reality. So those are that's the basics. But what I think is interesting is comparing it to accounting. So with accounting, you have credits and debits. The account always has to balance out to zero. So if you have a negative polarity or a sin or a karmic debt, then you have to either discharge it, you have to discharge that debt with something else. And either that can be something that happens to you that offsets that debt, or it can be you doing something positive that offsets that debt. But one way or another, the account has to be balanced out. The way it's looked from a scientific point of view, because I know a lot of people are scientists and it's hard for them to think kind of on this level, you can look at it as distribution of charge within your field or within your body or within your thought process, whatever you want to call it. I'd probably call it the mental body or emotional body or the auric field, whatever you want to call it. When you have a karmic debt or when you sin, you're creating a charge, a negative charge within your field, and it's not shareable, so it's negative. It's something that's bad. So what has to happen is you create that pressure and that negative magnetism, and that charge has to balance out and be distributed evenly. So the distribution of charge, whereas if the charge within you is positive, then you're going to attract those positive things to you. And balance things out that way. So that's the way of looking at it from an engineering point of view. So this whole thing where you can be forgiven of your sins by another man, no, you have the powers within you or your debts can be forgiven by somebody else. No, your sins, your karma, your negative thoughts. It's up to you to take care of that. The only thing that you can do is have somebody that guides you, but nobody can absolve you of the law of compensation of your past, of your karmic debt. So, that's just a silly kind of control matrix. It's a way to get people to continue to give their time to these control matrix, dogmatic religions that are just used to control your mind. But so it's important to understand mentalism because you need to think positively to magnetically attract positive things in your life. You need to understand polarity to understand that when there's something negative that happens, even if something negative happens to you and you don't have a karmic debt, then there is going to be something positive that's going to come towards you. So you have to understand polarity also for that reason. Rhythm would be an interesting one that I didn't, because I did polarity, mentalism, vibration, because you're going to vibrate you to things that vibrate alike. Like vibrations match up. So if you're vibrating on a high frequency, you're gonna draw those things into high frequency things into your life. So we could do vibration and then rhythm. So everything kind of flows, and the best you can do is, say something's going into a sort of a negative flow for you for some reason. The best you can do is try to vibrate at a higher frequency to mitigate that that rhythm that's going in sort of that negative direction. So that. Do I have anything else? I'm trying to freestyle. I'm trying to learn to freestyle, but I think that's about everything. So distribution of charge, accounting, the law of compensation, karma, the law of cause and effect. And if anybody has any questions, you can, this is going to be on YouTube. You can ask questions there. I'll post the YouTube video on Facebook. You can ask questions there. But I'm not, I think I got everything. That is it. So sin, the ideas that most people have of sin, God bless them. It's not quite on, but we'll get there. That's part of why I'm doing this channel, to raise consciousness, teach the occult, hidden knowledge, trying to be a de-occultist. That is it. Have a good day.